reviews. Now, people used to say to me, "Oh, you should read Vincent Canby, what he said about you." You know, my God, the review's so glowing. Never ever read a word of.
It's remarkably healthy.
I have, you know, it's not a temptation. It's not a.
Well, that's
like,
you're
oh,
lucky. You're lucky if it
wanna
comes naturally, because
just want to see where he says, you know, masterpiece. You know, forget it. It's you don't want that. You don't want to obsess over yourself.
Well,
you know, you don't want to sit in a room and think, God, that guy was right. I am shallow. I should turn to deeper themes. Or, yes, I'm quite brilliant, and I think you don't. You don't want that. You don't want to think about yourself. You want to think about, put your nose to the grindstone and think about
the work,
good plot,
good plot, good plot, good work. I mean, that's what I mean by not being neurotic. It's your attitude towards your work is healthier than mine has been. I know that, but at the same time, it also illustrates something, because I want to make that connection to science, that people think that ultimately art and science are selfish. In a sense, what you're doing is doing it for yourself. You're doing, if you're working hard, the best thing you can do, but you're also doing it because you enjoy it. It satisfies you. And most scientists don't become scientists to save the world. They do it because they enjoy it. They enjoy it.
You're doing something you love.
And if you don't enjoy it, you rarely do a good job. Okay.
Right, and you probably think you've never worked a day in your life.
Exactly.
You probably think, you know, hey, they're paying me to play baseball.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like, hey, this is just the best thing I'm playing.
Yeah.
I'm playing every day.
Right, and so I feel the same way, that I'm doing this for myself, that a certain amount of people enjoy it. That's great. That's a perk. It's a bonus. I love that. But, you know, now, it's a Spartan life. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't make a movie, for example, and luxuriate in adulation and go to parties and accept your awards and think because you got these awards you're better than you really are, and you don't go to your opening night and a party afterward, and suddenly you're surrounded by fascinating women and brilliant men, and you're you know, no, that's you lead a Spartan life. You work, and you go home, and you work the next day, and
the work. Yeah, well, see, I mean, the fact that work entered 3 times in that sense. You've said it. The work is what drives you. But at the same time, I have to say, when I listen to you, and maybe you should feel good about this, I think of Richard Feynman, the physicist.
Feynman, yes,
who is another idol of mine.
I should be so lucky.
But 2 things. You know, when the Nobel Prize, he said, "Yeah, are you thrilled?" He said, "No, I was thrilled when I had the answer to the question. The prize, the prize doesn't matter." He also said, and there's a famous book. It was his wife, tragically died early, who said, "Why do you care what other people think?" Those 2 things, when I think about you. It's the work that's, you know, whether if you're satisfied with it, you're satisfied with it, and if you're not, you're not. It doesn't matter what anyone else says, and it doesn't matter what other people think. But Feynman was also, it appeared miraculously to come up with solutions to things people didn't see. There was like 50,000 pages of hard work in his life that he'd done. It's hard work.
It's the detective work, the tedious checking of,
and it's the work. So we're getting near the end, and I want to just it all came together to me. And I said to you earlier, it was in the middle of the night. Maybe that's crazy, but when I think of this being driven by these existential questions, and you say basically, yeah, you're doing this, but if you're not asking the deep questions, you're really not doing what you should be doing. You know, you're doing.
That's for me, my own personal.
Well, but you think about that in art in general. If you're, and you compared Flaubert versus Tolstoy or Kafka, no matter how good you are as a craftsperson, if you're not dealing with the deep questions that are hard to address, then you're not really doing it. And you've got to work hard. And so I think of, when I think of your response to this meaningless universe by the work you do, which you claim is to distract, but you also say it's the work. And it's hard, and it's a struggle. I hear all those things coming out. I couldn't help thinking, for me, the prototypical existential thing is Camus and Sisyphus. The myth of Sisyphus rolling a boulder up a hill for eternity, because at the top, the gods have forced the boulder to go down. It's this meaningless existence that he's pushing. The ball almost gets up, rolls down again. And then Camus says, I think Sisyphus was smiling.
Yeah, he says that because he wants to put a good spin on it.
No, but I think that
that's his version of Catholicism or Judaism.
No, well, maybe. No, I think it's less. I think it's less rosy. I think it's less rosy.
I don't buy it.
No, I don't think it's. I disagree. I think what he's saying is what you said in some sense is that it doesn't mean rolling this thing up this hill is meaningful. It's meaningless. But you're here. You're stuck. You've got to find meaning. And I see you beautifully finding meaning in your work and your comedy. Not thinking that it's that it means anything for the cosmos.
I'm finding distraction.
It's a distraction because it allows you to get through the rolling the boulder up the hill.
I got to tell you, I got a joke in my new movie, Rifkin's Festival, which I just finished shooting in Spain. It's coming out, and Wally Shawn, who's playing the intellectual lead.
Oh, great. He's in it again. Okay.
Says, I have this dream. Someone mentions Sisyphus. He says, I have this dream where I'm pushing a boulder up the hill, and the boulder keeps rolling down. I'm pushing it and pushing it. He says, finally, I get it up there. And then what the hell do I have? A boulder on a hill. And I think that's true. Then what do you got?
What do you got?
That's what I'm saying. You solve the technical problems, the physical problems, the problems of the world. You get the boulder on the hill, and the gods don't stop you. It gets up there. Then what do you got? You got empty life with a boulder on a hill. A meaningless universe, and now it's up there.
But it's meaningless. But if you make me, but if the struggle. If the rolling,
a struggle is a distraction,
it's a distraction. And if you make it, if you make it meaningful, even if you realize it has no cosmic significance, if you get joy in the searching, and I as a scientist, I get more joy in the searching than the answering. The struggle of figuring it out.
If some guy comes in and steps on your toe hard, and I think you broke my toe. I got to go to the emergency room. You get the same distraction. You know what I mean?
But if
you're not thinking about the universe flying apart. You're thinking about,
if I gave you the choice of having me step on your toe when you woke up in the morning, or getting up and putting that pen to paper and making your next movie, you'd make the next movie. Because that's the struggle that you want to do.
It's a struggle that I can handle, but if I get up in the morning and someone says to me, you got to get down to the Motor Vehicle Bureau and renew your license. Oh God, it's the last day. That's also a struggle, and I'm caught up in that trivia, and I'm not thinking I'm going to Motor Vehicle Bureau and I have to maybe take the test again, and the universe is flying apart. I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking about the motor vehicle. So it distracts me.
Okay.
And, I'm a big fan of distraction because I feel the situation is irredeemably grim, bleak, unsolvable, and absurd. And the only thing you can do, like in Hemingway's story, The Killers, and he says to the guy, well, gee, it's terrible. It's horrible. And I think about it. He says, well, don't think about it.
Don't think about it. Okay, well, that would be a wonderful place to end, but I'm going to go on for 2 minutes. Because I think that's a wonderful way to sum up. But at the same time, I wanted to quote a poet that you liked. And I learned this. I learned this poem. I don't want to appear more erudite than I am from watching a movie. I watched a recent movie. Did you see Jojo Rabbit? Do you know
I haven't seen it yet.
Taiki Waititi? It's an amazing. I'm so impressed with it. Let me just say.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. I've heard very good things about it.
He quotes Rilke, who is a poet. And there's such an amazing quote, which let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. And I thought, well, that's not such a bad way to end this either. Is that, okay, it's no feelings final. You just keep plugging away. He's got no choice. That's what he's got to say. But people do have a choice. They can despair. They can say, look, this is the worst thing that's going to happen.
He's despairing. When he tells you this, he's only telling you this because he's despairing. Read better.
But he did.
The one who wrote Obad.
Oh yeah, no, I forget names. Now I'll both forget.
Read that and see what you think of that.
Okay.
See how you feel after you've read that.
Okay, but for me, the struggle, the terror, it's a distraction, but it's all we have. As you said, reality is awful, but it's the only place to get a good steak, right?
Unfortunately, yeah. And
Well, that sums up the profound aspect of this. I want to end it with one last thing, because it's important to me, which is I was reading, when you cast. Yeah, I read a thing about Jodie Foster writing you and saying, "Could I be in one of your things?" And you pointed out that you generally get, you have Julia Taylor and people who cast for you, but sometimes there's someone and you think about it and you put them in a role and you contact them and you say, "Oh, that was right for you, Jodie Foster, and she was in one of your movies." Mm-hmm. So I was going to say that would that ever happen if there was like a short Jewish physicist?
A short Jewish physicist
who you might want to, if he said, I want to, if you ever have a role for me.
Jewish physicists are not box office.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Woody. I could go on for hours, but thank you very much.
I'm sure they're all asleep by now, and if they're not, they should be.
Okay, thanks.
Philip Larkin.
Philip Larkin, right.
Okay, there we go. But we didn't.
Couldn't you yell that out earlier?
The Origins podcast is produced by Lawrence Krauss, Nancy Dahl, John and Don Edwards, Gus and Luke Holwerda, and Rob Zepps. Audio by Thomas Amison. Web design by Redmond Media Lab. Animation by Tomahawk Visual Effects. And music by Rickolas. To see the full video of this podcast, as well as other bonus content, visit us at patreon.com/originspodcast.